Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro. It's time to review Come On, Come On. This is an upcoming film from director Mike Mills, who did Beginners and 20th Century Women. The film follows Joaquin Phoenix, who takes care of his nephew after his family is going through some challenging times. If you've seen any Mike Mills films, you know what you're getting into. It has a very New York, Noah Baumbach, dialogue-heavy, naturalistic style. Joaquin Phoenix does a brilliant job out of completely blending into this film to the point where you don't even see him anymore. You don't see an actor. In the same way that with Frances McDormand in Nomadland, you didn't see a celebrity. There are going to be people who are like, oh, it's just Joaquin Phoenix playing himself. But like you're saying, what's impressive is how remarkable he disappears and just blends into what the movie needs him to be. And this is his first role since Joker, and it could not be more different. If anybody was kind of lost by how wacky he was in that movie, you are going to be pulled right back in. I wouldn't put it as he's playing himself. He's playing in the moment the entire time. Well, no, I agree. He's not. I'm saying people would accuse that, but I don't like that. I hate that accusation because it just takes away the essence of what acting is. I think there are 3 performances in here that are just absolutely excellent. Of course, one is Joaquin Phoenix, who is just brilliantly subtle throughout. And then you have Gabby Hoffman, who plays his sister. And Gabby Hoffman surprised me a lot because she was really good in this, and she brought a lot of personality and humor here. Her character is definitely more supporting, but it's one that you can really connect with, and actually you can come away with this film seeing her perspective very well. And she gives this really honest portrayal of what a mother is. That's really central to the film. And then there's Woody Norman, who plays the child in this film, and he's fucking incredible. He's as good as Joaquin Phoenix. Let me reiterate, he is as good. The first scene when he became very vulnerable and I just felt oh my God, that's a child. That was the moment when I was locked into the film. He's an absolute wonder. I actually don't know how this happened. It's so rare to get performances that feel so authentic for actors in this age range. I think he was probably around 10 years old playing this part. And this character is written just so intelligently. I think Mike Mills' approach to writing was really to ask himself, what is the intention of this character, within every scene? And of course it seems standard, but writing children, a lot of times they'll just be Daddy, why do adults fight sometimes? Or they'll just ask questions and they'll say things kind of mechanically. Mike Mills was really treating this character with a lot of intelligence and integrity. And also the level of trust you can tell he has with Joaquin Phoenix. I don't know what in prep they did to find that, or if they're both just extremely well trained for the screen and how to look like you're relating with one another. The listening on part of Joaquin Phoenix and Woody Norman is incredible. Every scene they were in was captivating. The essence of this film is the relationship between these two characters, and it's so heartwarming, charming, funny. Every emotion that you would go through as a parent, you feel in the scenes that take place between these two characters. There are a lot of things you could take away from this film, but one of them that stood out to me was that this is really about parenting in possibly the most honest way I've seen. We're probably more familiar with the joys that you're supposed to have with parenting, but I think what's more hidden is the absolute stress and drain that it is on you as a self and a person. And this film captured that really well. Yeah, it made you understand why an adult might scream at their kid in public and how that does not make them a bad person at all. I agree, it was one of the most authentic portrayals of parenthood. I do say that as someone who is not a parent, but this is also a film that's not even about a parent. It's just about someone who's learning to parent for the first time in their life. And really, this is just one of those movies that's about human connection. It's about what these two characters take away from each other, and you'll be surprised, I think, at how much it really is about the younger character in this situation, giving and teaching to the adult. That's actually one of the things that makes this film really special. There are a lot of ideas in here that the film is sort of touching on. I think a lot of audiences will have different takeaways about which idea kind of came across the strongest. How we deal with incoming generations, especially now when they're inheriting a planet that's not even in great condition. And it sort of asks what keeps humanity optimistic and how do we keep moving forward. I actually felt that thread is more about how do we listen to people whose perspectives we don't necessarily understand. My biggest takeaway was that this film is about how messy life is and how at any stage you're actually more confused the older you get. I mean, you think that you actually know it all when you're about like a teenager, and then the later your life goes on, the more confused you are, the more questions you have. It just tapped into something that I feel is very true about life, and it was so honest about it, and it did not present answers for how to deal with messiness, except that we have no choice but to move forward and deal with it. And rely on each other, I think. And in those relationships, that's where we can find optimism and beauty. I think Mike Mills has a very loving perspective of the world. He definitely tries to see it honestly and for what it is and for all its flaws, but I think there's just an appreciation for like the little moments that make up life. That
I just don't think it's called optimism. I would call that like it makes you feel appreciative for how life is and just like the puzzle that we're all like sort of playing with.
I would call it optimism, though.
Like, it definitely made me appreciate life because it was like, oh, you can make a work of art that's just about like how life is so hard to understand and how as an adult, a child has just as much to teach you as you have to teach them. You know, the writing is strong when you can see every perspective in the film. I felt like I understood it so deeply. I even understood like the child and where he was coming from so deeply that like this film really touched me.
Like when we think of dialogue, we usually think of like Aaron Sorkin or Tarantino, where everything that comes out of a character's mouth is like a well thought out, full and complete, witty sentence. The approach that Mike Mills has here is he's just trying to make people sound like they do. And the dialogue is much more messy, but to be able to craft messy dialogue that feels real is a skill that very few screenwriters have. I think he's like on Noah Baumbach's level with being able to do that. And it's just a gift to watch these performers work with that dialogue. I just found this to be such an easy movie to sink into and connect with. The dialogue and the characters and the performances felt incredibly authentic.
I think some people also have pacing issues. Even I thought the first act felt like it plotted a little bit too slowly, like I didn't know where it was going. But once you settle into the relationship between Joaquin Phoenix and Woody Norman, there's nothing left to be desired. It was just a beautiful mosaic about life.
I think that Joaquin Phoenix, Woody Norman, and Gabby Hoffman are all kind of Academy Award nomination worthy. I feel like less people probably say that about Gabby Hoffman, but I really think she was amazing. Woody Norman is probably going to get overlooked.
But wouldn't it be amazing if he didn't? Like, if he just got into supporting actor? Because he actually deserves the nomination.
He's fucking British. He is fucking
He's
British.
What?
There are professional British actors who've won Oscars who cannot hide their accent as well as he does it.
He's literally as good as Joaquin Phoenix. Like, I don't know what else you want me to say. And it's one of Joaquin Phoenix's best performance.
Yeah.
You know, maybe my favorite right behind The Master or right up there with The Master.
Do we think that Joaquin Phoenix will be nominated for this? Because I feel like he and the screenplay are really on the cusp.
Yeah, I agree. I really want to see how this film takes off and whether, like, especially Letterboxd can catch this film and run with it, because I think that's, like, where the hype is going to come from. I want to see the word of mouth happen.
I mean, Beginners won supporting actor. 20th Century Women got a screenplay nomination. I mean, and this movie, I mean, if this doesn't get either an acting or screenplay nomination, it'd be kind of weird.
I'll be upset. I would love to see us nominated for much more than that, but I don't expect it.
Why don't we expect it? It just feels a little too like subtle, low-key, slice of life, and the Oscars like something a little more punchy maybe.
I think it's really because the plot, it's like it doesn't move very obviously from point A to point B.
I mean, I wouldn't delete it from my picture predictions, but it would be like 20.
I wouldn't let you delete it.
My last thought is that the score from Bryson Aaron Dessner is very good. There are a lot of unique sounds and arrangements in here, and it's very like soft and nice. This is one of my favorite movies of the year. And I need a second watch to see if it's a 10 out of 10. 9 out of 10 for now.
This is an easy 10 out of 10 for me. Probably a top 5 of the year. You better fucking watch it.
And stay tuned, because we're going to TIFF tomorrow, buddies. We already have tickets secured for Dune, okay? That just shows you how everything we're seeing.
Spencer, The Humans,
Belfast,
Power of the
Tammy
Dog.
Faye. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Who do you come on?